Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for frame rate is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Frame Rate is brought to you by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly. All streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit.
Does it need deep character development?
It's about the performers.
The gorgeous costume design.
I mean, something as big and as just epic, it can't just handle a subtle plot.
It's a spectacle. You know, you can't really compare them.
I only watch independent movies.
It's Frame Rate!
Booyakasha!
Welcome to Frame Rate. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm little old Brian Brushwood. How you doing?
You're a big old Brian. You're a perfectly adequate sized Brian Brushwood.
That's what my wife tells me. How you doing, Tom?
I am shocked and ashamed of myself. How are you?
I'm doing well. Dude, I loved that opening video. It was so surprising to me how it managed to please both the Michael Bay lovers and haters. That was found by Blaster.com, the sci-fi website. And I don't know. Like, if somebody uses Michael Bay as a descriptor, good thing or bad thing?
Well, okay. First of all, for those of you on the audio podcast, you're going to have to look in the show notes or do a search for Michael Bay Masterclass to really get the full effect of this. But I think it makes a really good point. And think about how many times in the past the schlock of a previous age becomes the studied classic of the future. Shakespeare was crap during its day, and now it's like, it's fine art. Stephen King is in the middle of making that transition. Romantic novels of the 1700s, another example of that. Even freaking like romantic comedy movies of the 50s were schlock at the time, and now we're like, oh, a fine Cary Grant movie. They don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah, The Wizard of Oz was regarded as like, special effecty, gimmicky crap at the time.
Totally.
Box office.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell you
Chaucer couldn't even finish his book.
It depends on the context for it, because when I played, and I always use this all the time, Modern Warfare 2, I wanted a deep experience the way I got from Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And when it gave so little attention to plot and details in a story that made sense, and it was all about the explosions. It was like the worst insult I could call it was that it was a freaking Michael Bay movie, and I meant it as an insult at the time. But then again, I don't know. Watching this, I'm like, he's Michael Bay speaking his own blowing things up language.
That's exactly right. And that's why I'm a fan of disaster movies, and unapologetically a fan of them, is that I appreciate the well-done disaster.
Now,
and if I have any criticism of Michael Bay, it's that he's actually just in the middle of the pack on being able to destroy things. Look at 2012. Look at Day After Tomorrow. That's real destruction. Yeah.
I mean, that's true. But here's the thing that kills me about Michael Bay. Like, most of his movies are insulting to your intelligence if you want to not be yanked out of the movie by something so unbelievably impossible and scientifically incorrect as possible. But the one movie where I actually thought he actually tried to tell a consistent story in a universe of the future that made sense was a total box office disaster. I loved The Island, and I'm not ashamed to say it out in public. I think it's the best movie Michael Bay created.
I very much enjoy. I don't know if I'd say loved, but I very much enjoyed The Island. I saw it against everyone's advice. I think I got it on Netflix. I don't think I saw it in the theaters, but I liked it. I thought this isn't a waste of time. This was fun.
No, it was really good. And unfortunately, and I'm sure the reason people hated it is because he took time to do things like set up a consistent universe and tell a consistent story that made actual sense. And unfortunately, the one time he actually tried to play by the rules I want to watch at a movie, he was rewarded with absolute financial disaster. And then we got Transformers 2 last year instead.
You know what has a really thin plot, unbelievable characters, and just, the very thinnest shred of some kind of consistency?
This clip right here.
La Boheme.
I just looked down and I realized I hadn't played it this episode yet. That's it. That's the one
you ruined my opera joke. All right. Fine. Let's move on to the big story then.
This just in, the big story.
This may be the best movie-related idea I have ever heard.
Okay. All right. You go ahead and blow it up here, and then we'll talk about it, because I've got some things on this. I don't know.
MoviePass will launch with an unlimited pass service, allowing subscribers to go as many films as they want or can for $50 a month. 3D, IMAX, you pay a $3 surcharge, but other than that, everything you want to see, $50 a month. You use your phone to get into the movie. It's starting out as a private beta, launching in the San Francisco Bay Area this past weekend. Then they plan to roll it out to other cities. And they even offer a 4-movie-a-month package for $30. So you might want to do the math on that. If you're somebody who always goes to matinees, but other versus full price, it's still a lot cheaper. It's essentially trying to be Netflix for theater movies, for actually going to the movies.
All right, so here's the thing. So it sounds to me like you think that this is revolutionary and surprising and is going to change stuff, right?
No, I would not agree with any of that. I think this is a good deal if you want to see a lot of movies.
I don't even know that it is. Like, what's the mini package they have where for $30 you can get
$30 you get 4 movies a month.
That's $7.50 a movie. That's you already get that, and you don't have to give them.
Where do you see? It's freaking $12 for a movie.
It's $7.50's matinee pricing at most of these places.
I did say that you'd have to take in your matinee account. If you only go to matinees, because matinees may be that cheap. Even here, matinees aren't that cheap, though. Some places in the country, yeah, they may be. But that restricts you to only going to matinees. This says, you know what? You're going to go matinee price, and you can go whenever you want.
All right, now I know this is unfair, and I know some people who don't live in Austin, Texas are tired of hearing about it, but I'm going to see how much it costs to see a movie at the Alamo Drafthouse. I thought it was only like $9.
Well, Alamo Drafthouse is a different situation. Now, if Alamo Drafthouse is one of the places you can take the movie pass, that actually makes this movie pass a lot more valuable.
Right, but that's just it. You got to take it to the bank that every place. Yeah, look at this. General admission is $9.50. So it's like in order for this.
So it's still more expensive.
No. Well, $50 for unlimited movies. Now I understand if you're a psycho, at this pricing, the only thing this makes sense to me is if you're somebody who has a 14-year-old kid who you realize you don't want to send him to summer camp, so instead you spend $50 a month and say you're going to movie summer camp.
No, this makes sense, Dad. This makes sense for adult single people or maybe couples who like to go to more than 5 movies a month.
Okay, but as a money saving, I don't know. I mean, maybe 5 movies a month. Maybe I'm just busy enough that the idea of even going to 5 movies a month sounds luxurious and like a bender. Like if I went to 5 movies in 1 month, that would be huge. That would be exceptional. I cannot think of any time in the last 10 years I've gone to the movie theater for 5 movies in 1 month. Can you?
Not since I moved from San Francisco. When I first moved to San Francisco, I probably hit 4 or 5 movies a month.
Yeah,
so this $30 pass would totally cover it. And the fact of the matter is, if I actually had the $50 option, I probably would have got it and gone to more movies.
Now, here's the big question, right? Is number one, are there 5 releases even worth watching?
Absolutely. You know why? Because the theaters that are listed in the Bay Area Movie Pass beta are not just your blockbuster theaters. They're not just your AMC Cineplexes, the Clay, the Bridge, Lumiere, Embarcadero. These are the indie theaters that have the really good movies.
You know what? I can get behind that. If you have a few theaters in your area where you could go experience the back catalog and stuff, and even some of these midnight movies where they take old B movies, you could go watch Shaft or Flash Gordon or something like that. I could totally see getting on board with that. But I know for me personally, if I wish I had time to go see 5 movies in 1 month, and in fact I could see myself going on a bender for 1 month where I see 5 or even 10 movies in a theater, but that's going to be the 1 month extravaganza, and it's not going to be that month over month. I think the pricing is just awkward enough. This strikes me as very safe pricing from an actuarial standpoint. I think they could have cut way deeper. I think they could have gone to...
it really is a regional thing then, because I look at this and I'm like, $50, I would spend seeing 3 to 4 movies in a month.
Yeah.
So if I can see unlimited for the price of 3 to 4 movies, that's huge. $30 to see 4 movies, that's like half price.
Do you buy concessions every time you go see a movie?
Not every time, no.
Oh man, that's part of the movie experience. You don't go and not have a drink or a popcorn or something.
Not every time, no. Sometimes, yeah.
What percentage of the time do you just walk in?
I'd say about 60% of the time we get concessions.
No, see, for me, it's like I would always have to be doing it. So it's like I'd be spending $50.
Because the concessions are too expensive. You know what? It's funny, and this is just unique to me probably, but because I know that theaters make most of their money on concessions, when I go to the indie theaters, I always get concessions. When I go to the AMC, like big corporate chains, this is probably totally unfair. I'm like, I don't need to get concessions.
Oh, no, I always buy concessions at everywhere.
I'm making out like a bandit.
When I was in high school, I worked at a Cinemark theater. I started in concessions, worked to box office, eventually got to projection, and all of the money that they make at the box office essentially goes for the rental of the print. I mean, the only money they make is at concession, so I don't feel bad. And it is a lot of money, but it's like...
that's why I say, that's why I do it at the indie theaters, but I don't feel like worried about it at the corporate chains.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this.
Because I feel like I'm sticking it to the man by not buying popcorn.
Well, and that's one of the great things about the smartest things from a business standpoint for the Alamo Drafthouse is that I spend $60 every time on just food and drink at the Drafthouse, but it never strikes me as being usurious or unfair.
No, because they have good stuff. You're not buying like crappy hot dogs for $6. Yeah,
exactly. Even though the margins are just as huge. I mean, the margins on alcohol and drinks are phenomenal, but I don't even mind because I'm getting
ballpark prices.
Exactly. So I will say this is a step in the right direction. Here's the question I wanted to pose to you is, why is this new now? Why did it take 70 years for them to come do this? Because I remember there was a place called Fame City. It was an attraction park in Houston, and one of the things you could do laser tag or play video games or bowling or all this stuff, and you got the Mega Pass, you got this wristband. They also had a movie theater, so you could run in and watch a movie or whatever. But with all that other free stuff that I got, I would walk into the movie theater and I would just think about all the other things I could be doing, and then I walk out of the movie theater. And I wondered, like, that was an important moment for me because it made me realize that part of what I loved about the movie going experience is that it was an on purpose walking in and dedicating hours of my time to this thing. And I wonder if there's going to be any kind of that devaluation of, because you perceive it as free, you don't enjoy it quite as much. Do you think that's an issue?
I don't think as much of an issue as it was in that park you're talking about. I mean, you're still dedicating a certain amount of time. You're still taking the trouble to go there. You're still buying the popcorn and coming and sitting down in the dark theater. You're getting the whole experience. If you go a lot, though, and I remember this from when I was going to a movie a week on purpose. Like, I'm just going to see a movie a week. You know, sometimes I'd go alone. Sometimes I'd go with other people, but I'm going to see a movie a week. It did start to feel a little routine. And so if you pay the $50 and you're going to like 6 or 8 movies a month, it might take a little bit of that specialness of it being an event. But that's true of anything you do more often versus less often. When I was a season ticket holder for the Oakland A's, going to an A's game stopped being a special, like, ooh, I'm going to a baseball game, and started to be like a regular thing. And that's just going to happen with anything.
And I think you totally just hit on what I was trying to get at, is, to me, going to the movies is still a special event. It's special because I want to see it first night. It's special because I want to see it as loud and as big and as bright and as 3D as possible. Whereas if you're going all the time, it's like, I kind of don't want that. I don't want to see the lady with her clothes off all the time, because then I'm just like, would you put on something once in a while?
You look cold.
Yeah, right.
That's what I get you a shawl. That's because you're in strip clubs so often. You have that.
Well, there has to have been some precedent of movie theaters trying something like this before. This can't be 70 years of nobody getting around to decide to try.
I think you're probably right. This has definitely been done before, and I think the reason that it might work this time is that those margins keep getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed to the point where they're saying, look, if we can actually get more people in the door with some kind of deal like this, where you're paying enough that it's like, hey, you want to come 8 or 10 times a month, we'll actually make more money off the concessions and make more money overall. Whereas in the past, I don't think those margins on things were squeezed quite so tight for theaters.
All right, so but before we wrap up on this, one bizarre prediction I'm going to make. If this is successful, expect massive ticket inflation in the next 2 years, because this thing is priced so expensively that if they're able to lock that in,
I totally disagree.
No,
but that is it's a total difference of economics, where our cheapest movies here are $13 or $14.
I don't know.
And we don't have the movie pass yet. So I mean, you know what it should be. It's $50. You know, here, actually, wait a minute. This hasn't rolled out nationwide. If they're smart, it's $50 in the Bay Area, where to me it seems like a screaming deal, and in Austin it's $35.
Okay, now we're talking the same language. If I can get $35, and
because it shouldn't be the same price for the movie pass all across the United States.
So true.
Absolutely. Now we're talking the same language. Yeah,
because movie prices are different everywhere.
I agreed, and the theaters are different. And I'll tell you what, it's if it was $35 for unlimited, or hell, even if it was $40 for unlimited movies, me and Bonnie would have season passes to the Alamo Drafthouse instantly. That would be $80 a month.
Oh, you know the Alamo Drafthouse won't be part of this, though, right?
I know they won't. But
also,
I'm just trying to. I'm the psycho who refuses to go anywhere else.
Angel Mercury already had this idea in the chat room. He tells us, and IAS backs him up. So screw us. We just weren't paying attention.
Well, there's that.
So
we just invented the internet.
Forget it. On to another big story then. Forget it.
Stop everything. It's another big story.
All right, Angel Mercury, what do you think of this story?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want us to actually tell you about it? Well, guess what?
All right, here's the deal. Just kidding. Sigma Designs announced a new set-top box last week that doesn't actually sit atop anything. It plugs into an electric outlet, and in a few ways, it's really the thing we're looking for. It's smaller than a deck of cards. Well, actually, it's not much larger. It's about the size of a deck of cards. No power cord. No need for coaxial cable. You plug it right into a wall outlet, and it can decode multiple IPTV streams to feed content to a various number of HD TVs around your house. And not only that, it will stream content to more than one TV with different programs at once. It also has a hard drive, so it can serve as a DVR for multiple TVs, and it uses Z-Wave as its wireless. So instead of the box can be placed out of sight and will still receive a signal from your remote control.
Okay, so here's my question. What the hell is Z-Wave?
It's a radio frequency. It's no different than Wi-Fi in principle. It's just using a different bandwidth.
It's got to get gotcha.
So it's radio waves.
So how do the HD TVs receive the signal? Do I have to get receivers for all my different televisions?
You know, that's a good question because it doesn't say it in this MIT article, this technology review article. But the implication is that it comes with a wireless receiver that then plugs into the back of your HD TV. At least that's the only way this makes any sense.
And again,
because they're saying it will sell for less than $100.
The receiver or the transmitter?
The package.
Okay, so let's say the package is $99 and it includes one receiver and one transmitter. Let's say that additional receivers are $50, and let's be as generous as possible and say that the receiver is an HDMI input that plugs in and receives 1080p. Which, first of all, that would be extraordinary, and I have a hard time believing that you would get that quality at under $100.
It can also control lighting, door locks, thermostats. Anything that can be controlled by a radio wave device. So if you've ever looked into home automation, you can get they can sell you more little things to control the rest of your house too.
This is the backdoor awesome. I was not impressed with this until I got to that end part there, because you notice there's no specifics on what quality of signal. There's no specifics about bandwidth restrictions or any of that kind of thing. But the idea that you will have one consumer level device that you can use as that wedge open to that magical remote. And to be honest, I don't even see why they need a remote. My favorite thing about the Sonos is that it comes with no remote. It's just like, just download the app for your iPhone.
Yeah, and they could do it that way.
Yeah,
I mean, this is still very in startup mode. But I think Technology Review hit the nail on the head. The key is, what internet TV can I get? Because if I can't get Netflix, and if Hulu's blocking it, and every freaking television network website is blocking it, this is much less useful than if it grants me access to everything that's on the internet.
And we have no statements on any of that, do we?
No.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk from the founder about Allvid, which is an FCC proposal to make a standard unification of your subscriber television and your internet television. So that, for instance, Google TV could present a single unified interface that would plug into your Comcast or your Time Warner cable and also deliver internet television all in one interface. There's a standard for that. It's been proposed by the FCC. The cable industry is solidly against it, but the FCC has not ruled yet on whether they will issue it as a standard or not.
Well, I don't know. And unfortunately, there's so many. I read this whole article from beginning to end twice, and all I've got is questions. And unfortunately, I mean, it's not helpful for me to go through all my questions now. But I guess we'll just have to keep an eye on this one and see what actually comes out. Because
this is an early design, right? So there's a lot of different ways they could go, and there obviously are a lot of questions you're going to have. But as an idea, right? What's different about this versus all the other ideas we've seen and implementations we've seen is we're going to use Z-Wave radio frequency. We're going to stick it out of sight. It's not going to be a big bulky thing you have to find a place for in your home entertainment center. It's just going to be over there on the wall, and it's going to deliver the streaming internet television. And I think the implication here is your subscriber television, your satellite or your cable, to all your televisions.
Well, and
that's freaking amazing if it can fulfill on that.
Absolutely. And what's great, and I don't know what they're talking about in terms of potency of the hardware that's in there, but let's say, for sake of discussion, that this thing really it's small, it's discreet, you plug it in and you plug the other half in your television, or there's a receiver attached to it, and let's say it is firmware upgradable, to where at first you just get used to the idea, like, look, now I have Netflix and Hulu on here, and now I can watch Twit on here, and so on. And then down the road, they're able to roll out other things. For example, like, well, now you have this app, and now there's this other service. Now you're, by the way, you want to pay $1.99 a month for this brand new music service? And so now all of a sudden it becomes your essentially your Xbox console, or what in my house the Xbox 360 does, which essentially take care of media and the kids watching and stuff. But again, I don't know, that much hardware in just a deck of cards size box is very difficult for me to believe.
Absolutely easy. Solid state drive. I mean, you can make a Linux server into something about as big as my thumb and forefinger circled. So put a solid state drive in it. Of course, this thing's going to be deck of cards size.
But again, there's the aesthetics of it. Will it have? And this is the dumbest thing I'm ever going to say.
All right.
But I'd rather have an Xbox-sized device on my set top, literally visible on my set top box or whatever, and have everything be Apple iPhone smooth, than have a deck of card size thing plugged into the wall and have it be kind of herky-jerky.
Why are you assuming because it's small it's going to be herky-jerky?
Because it's $99, because it's under $100. If it's that small and it's under $100, I don't believe it.
It doesn't have to do much. I could probably build this for myself for less than $100, and I'd be able to get it pretty close to that size. You don't need a graphics card in it. The graphics card is in the television. So all you need is a chip and a solid-state drive. It doesn't take up a lot of space. That can be high-quality stuff.
But that's just it. Is you definitely need a graphics card if what you're doing is getting things moving in and menus and looking smooth and totally futuristic and stuff. Like that's what I want that, and I don't mind look, I got plenty of real estate.
How much does an Apple TV cost?
Like $99, right?
Oh, how do they do it?
Well played, sir. But here's the problem. Apple stakes its reputation on making everything futuristic smooth, and I don't trust.
Well, that's a whole different question. Yeah, you just don't know. You don't know these guys whether they can.
I don't. You're
Absolutely.
right. I don't know. I hope it does. Please. It is my sincere wish that in 12 episodes we come back and you play this clip and you laugh at me for ever having doubted them.
Angel Mercury says he likes it so far. Just so you know.
Right.
And suppospostly they're going to have these out by Christmas. So by the end of the year, hopefully we will be able to evaluate it. And I could say, Brian, you were totally right. This thing sucks.
I hope that I'm wrong. I want everything to be awesome. Let me go on the record. I am pro-awesome.
I am in favor of yet another big story.
Tuck in your bootstraps. It's yet another big story.
Also, Angel Mercury is a woman. I just found that out. It's not
a woman.
She's not a he. Cory Doctorow on Boing Boing. That was not yet another big story. That was just me correcting.
This just in. Yeah. Angel Mercury, a woman. Reactions, Tom Merritt.
Was it at the beginning of the show? She's always been a woman. It's my own misogyny. That was the problem. Boing Boing's Cory Doctorow has a post up explaining Hollywoodonomics. Using Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix as an example. Apparently, the way you make money in the movie industry is to charge yourself a lot.
Yes.
that's kind of what this comes down to. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix grossed nearly $1 billion. Okay.
I'm sure that sounds like a dismal failure.
Was nevertheless running $167 million in the red. And last summer, Deadline released a balance sheet that Corey just dug up. The losses are attributable to prints and advertising / marketing. The major recipient of that budget was, in fact, Warner itself in the guise of its different media divisions. So it charged itself to run advertising on itself. Another culprit was high interest fees, though the film didn't have outside financing. So it was loaning money to itself and charging outrageous interest.
Right. Okay. So break this down. And to be honest, look, I'm not even gonna be mad at Hollywood for playing this game, because this is the game that it seems like our tax architecture tries to benefit. So it's like if you're one company and you release a movie that makes $1 billion, and let's say realistically, if you had done lowest bidder on everything, you'd be netting a $400 million just cash in your pocket, right? You're going to get taxed the bejesus out of you, right? So it's like, well, who are we having, build these prints? Well, we got this other guy.
Well, forget being taxed. Think of all the royalties you'd have to share on the profits with all the people who worked on the movie.
Dude, I forgot all about that. I can't believe I was thinking this is just a tax thing.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Art Buchwald sued Paramount in 1988 over Coming to America and won. And the judge called studio accounting methods unconscionable. But apparently, that wasn't enough to make anybody change their habits.
I totally believe this, and it really is. And it's like even even goofballs like us out on the fringes of this world are hip to how idiotic their accounting methods are. And it's one of those things where it's like, let's lend ourselves the money. And you got to realize they're all branches. They're technically separate companies. That's why they can do business with the different branches or whatever. But it's like, let's lend ourselves the money back at a ridiculously high interest rate. They just want to spread out the money as far as possible to pay the people who actually put their heart and soul into these products as little as possible.
So let me be clear. One of the main reasons I put this in the lineup for Frame Rate is when you hear arguments made by the industry about how piracy is ruining them, about how you need to support the industry to pay the actors and the directors and the crew that works on the movie. Remember this practice that they put into place and consider that when you evaluate their claims. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, exactly. And Web Number wants to know how much state taxes are in Texas, and the answer is 0, baby. Guess who loves Texas?
Film in Texas.
That's right.
This episode of Frame Rate is brought to you by Netflix, streaming thousands of TV episodes and movies directly to you instantly. Saves you time, saves you money, saves you hassle. I mean, you have less hassle if you do it this way.
Look, people know who've been watching me on Twitter and hearing me on the show know I'm a huge fan of hassle. What I prefer to do is hop in my car, drive with screaming kids out to some kind of brick and mortar store. And what I'd really like to do is see a very small selection, and whatever one movie I actually want to see, especially if it's newly released or whatever, I'd like to have it be not available so that, and then when I take it home, what I'd really like is to get charged late fees when I can't be bothered to get around to bring it back.
Now, not everyone is like Brian. Some people like to stay home, not get charged late fees, have access to almost every movie ever made, maybe watch them instantly on their Mac or their PC or their iPad or their iPhone or their Android phone or through their gaming console onto the actual television. But that's them. That's not you.
That's them. That's not me. Apparently Netflix isn't for me because I'm somebody who loves hassle. I'm somebody who loves overpaying. I love getting nailed with late fees. So
for instance, if you begin watching a movie or show on one device, you don't want to be able to finish watching it on the other. You want to have to start over from scratch.
Well, yeah, because that's part of the
Because with
fun.
Netflix, you can begin watching a movie on one device and then pick up right where you left off on another one, but you don't like that.
Oh, no. What I've asked...
And he wants a limit on the number of movies and TV shows he can watch anytime he wants. And he doesn't want to be able to cancel anytime. With Netflix, you can cancel anytime. And in fact, you can try it out for free. Go to netflix.com/twit for 30 days free. Be sure to use that URL to show your support of Frame Rate. And we thank Netflix for their support of Frame Rate. Time for Film Found. So, Brian Brushwood, I know in the summer movie draft you have Captain America. Is that correct?
Yeah, he and I are BFFs. BFFs forever.
They are so confident that is going to push you over the top, they have already approved a sequel.
I was really, really surprised by the announcement of there already being a sequel. It seems like that's the kind of thing that you should, wait and see how well the first movie does before you authorize the second one.
Well, this is not the way the Screen Junkies article puts it, but as I understand it, once the studio found out that you had them in the NSFW show Summer Movie Draft, they said, well, this is obviously going to be a blockbuster hit. Let's approve a sequel.
My sources tell me that they already knew it was going to be big because I had it, but once America killed Osama bin Laden, America fever was all over this place, and that Captain America was going to be gigantic.
Yes. It certainly didn't hurt.
Let me tell you, the interview is fantastic. Go to screenjunkies.com, check out the interview talking about the fact that they're already working on the second flick. And it sounded to me like the big news was that they're going to kind of, obviously this is a period piece that takes place back in World War II. And of course, the Avengers movie takes place in modern day. And anyone who's read the comic, spoiler alert, nothing. Captain America somehow survives to modern day because he's frozen in ice. But there's talk. It sounded to me like the sequel might go back to World War II, like the Captain America.
Oh, yeah, that sounds cool.
Be only about his adventures back in World War II, which personally I think would be freaking awesome. I think, by the way, in fact, if you don't mind me jumping around here, one of the letters that I had pulled up was on the latest Captain America trailer. Have you seen the very latest of the Captain America trailers?
No, I haven't.
If it's okay, if Jason's able to whip that up fast enough, you'll see it down in Interferon segment. That's where I originally wanted to put it on there. Apparently I didn't. Apparently it's below that. But anyway, I would love to actually take a look at it because you get much more of the story and the sense of who Captain America is, especially before he becomes Captain America. I don't want to...
All right, here we go.
Mild spoilery. Take a look at this. Tell me what you think.
So the preview has been approved for all audiences?
Apparently.
You just don't know when to give up.
I could do this all day.
You have something against running away?
You start running, they'll never let you stop.
You really gonna do this now?
There are men laying down their lives. I got no right to do any less than them.
I can offer you a chance.
Our goal is to create a new breed of super soldiers.
When you brought a 90-pound asthmatic onto my army base, I let it slide.
I am looking for qualities beyond the physical.
You win wars with guts.
Grenade! Everybody down!
Is this a test? He's still skinny.
Whatever happens, stay who you are. Not just a soldier, but a good man.
Is it too late to go to the bathroom?
You actually did it.
Who the hell are you?
The first of many.
Hydra is the Nazi Deep Science Division, led by Johann Schmidt.
He thinks he's a god, and he's willing to blow up half the world to prove it.
You're not even close to this technology.
I asked for an army, and all I got was you.
Congratulations. You just got promoted.
Mr. Stark?
I had some ideas about the uniform.
You're gonna get so many girls.
Captain, we are much alike.
I don't know if I can do this.
You won't be alone.
What made you so special?
Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Hey!
You're late.
Nobody's perfect.
I think they made a mistake going World War II.
What?
They should have gone Afghanistan. They want to ride that Osama wave.
Oh, yeah. You know what they could do is they could use all the current footage and just repurpose it. They just redub everyone with Afghani accents or whatever.
When they say it's a deep Nazi, it's a deep Al-Qaeda organization.
Why did they not do that? There are two things that really stood out. First of all, that's the first trailer. That trailer has what I think is the defining characteristic of Captain America as a character, and I don't know if they intentionally sat on it or they thought it was too good a moment to put out there, but that brief 4-second interlude where they, and I'm sure it'll be bigger in the movie, when Tommy Lee Jones throws a grenade and shouts grenade, and everybody ducks and hides, and meanwhile Captain America, Steve Rogers, just dives on the grenade despite the fact that he has nothing. Like, that's just who he is. With no power, no strength, no anything. He's the kind of guy who's thinking of the greatest good first. That is a defining moment. And of course, the other thing I really liked, and I don't know, I'm not super familiar with the Captain America canon, but I really love that scene in the preview when he's walking in with the shield up, firing a freaking gun. There's none of that Batman, I don't touch guns crap. He's just like, I'm gonna kill me some Nazis, plus I got a shield. Like, I loved that.
Also, in our Film Foul news, just an update. The MPAA has finally asked a court, Los Angeles federal judge overseeing the case against Zediva, to file an injunction to make them shut down. So if you have Zediva, the service that takes a DVD and plays it over the internet specifically just for you, you may be in danger of losing your membership. They're not selling memberships anymore, but there may be an injunction coming against that. Just an update there. Yeah.
Real quick on the Zediva thing. I know when we first heard the idea, it sounded a little bit fishy to us, and we thought that they were going to get shut down any second. But now that they're actually getting shut down, I think this is totally BS. This is total BS.
No. You're faking history. I was the one who said this is total BS, and you said, oh, yeah, but, it's a... Now you finally think it's total BS?
Well, now I feel it in my heart.
I see.
I think it's totally
They came for our Zediva, and Brian didn't speak up because he wasn't a Zediva subscriber.
No, but now I'm gonna go get me some Zediva. Because here's the thing: if this succeeds, I'm passionate about this now. Because if this succeeds, then that means you got to shut down your Sling boxes. And that means you got to.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. There are significant legal differences between the two, but it does mean they've inched that much closer to it, for sure.
I'm not cool with this whole thing. Everything's fine.
Let's just stay in the theaters and watch movies the way we're supposed to, especially if I own them in the NSFW show Summer Movie. Well, Jason Howell coming out with Cars 2 this weekend, $73 million. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think it did pretty well, especially for a first week. And, I just hope that continues through the rest of the summer. I personally feel like Cars has a long tail through the summer, so we'll see.
Yeah, X-Men First Class had a little longer tail than I was afraid of. 133 million is where it's at now, which isn't too far out. I was thinking it was going to be closer to 175, 180 total. But given how poorly it started off with 50 in the first weekend, it's done okay. It's had enough people come back for it. So you're right. Cars 2 may juice you up a little bit. This weekend, Transformers: Dark Side of the Moon, Dark of the Moon. It's not a Pink Floyd album. Cargill's second movie, and Cargill in last place right now, 91,117,000. He's right behind me. I'm fifth place.
Now here's the thing: Cargill's a slippery character because he's super smart, and I've never seen him quite so confident as he was about his summer movie pick. Even though
Transformers is going
to even though the Hollywood Stock Exchange had him at the lowest of all of us, he is so super confident about. He sounded confident about Green Lantern. I don't know how much of that was bluff.
Green Lantern, 91 million after 2 weeks. Not so hot.
Not so hot. But I'll tell you what: the fact that this is supposed to be an actually good movie, the fact that it's a Michael Bay movie, and the fact that it's on July 4th. I mean, what's your projections? If you were gonna make a side wager here, are we talking $100 million opening weekend?
I think it could be more.
Yeah,
I think we could see him. I don't know if he could catch Jason, but he'll get close to catching Jason with this one movie. And Jason's got 303 million total. Cargill's only got 91 million.
I agree. Now you've literally only had one movie out so far. You're still at $133 million.
Yeah, movie, $133 million. It's not exactly where I wanted to be, but it's not too far off. My next movie is Larry Crown, which also comes out this week. I don't expect that to give me hardly anything. I'm thinking 20 mil tops. Yeah. That's being super optimistic. I bought Larry Crown as a little bit of fluffy padding. I didn't spend a lot of money on it. Yeah. So my next real movie is Cowboys and Aliens, end of July. That's when I'm hoping to start getting some beefy numbers again.
Now, let me tell you, I don't know if they're just being shrewd about their marketing, but I am not seeing anything for Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah,
lately.
I saw
you know what's funny is I see it every time I see a movie. It's always in the trailers before the movies.
I missed it. When I went most recently, I didn't see it that time. When I went and saw Super 8, I don't think I saw Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, what I don't see is any ads for Larry Crown. It's coming out this weekend. Come on, people.
What? Hollywood, why are you ashamed of Larry Crown?
What's wrong with Tom Hanks and Julia Roberts, for God's sakes? The only thing that could help me with Larry Crown is a July 4th weekend.
All right,
so there's going to be a
for
lot
those
more
of you
people
guys-
going to the movies who have to make, negotiations. Well, I don't want to see Transformers. That's just a lot of hooey and violence.
No, you know what? Here's what you need to hope for. You need to hope for Transformers is even more popular than you dared hope, and that everybody who can't get into Transformers is like, screw it, I'll go see Larry Crown.
I want to go to the movies. I'm going to see something. Tom Hanks, Julia Roberts can't miss. My pick for this weekend.
So we're all agreed now that Sarah, especially after the showing that Hangover 2 had, and
she's
the
almost
fact-
uncatchable, right?
Yeah,
I know
she's
Justin's in first place with 437 million, but that's temporary. He doesn't have any more movies.
Although part of me, it's like I'm so like you have no idea how seriously pissed off Justin is that he co-created the game and can't seem to do anything but last place in it.
Oh, I don't think he'll be last place this year, but.
No, I don't think so either. But it's like I want him to enjoy the spotlight as much as he can before he finally gets killed.
All right. I have not seen any movies this weekend. How about yourself?
Well, it was an extraordinarily busy weekend for me, so I didn't go out to the movie theater. But while I was waiting for us to head out to go do NSFW show, I was at an anime convention after all, and there was some folks had put in the original John Carpenter's The Thing, which, man, does it hold up. Do the effects hold up?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Does the now? Here's the one thing that and I'm not even going to say it doesn't hold up, but it was really fascinating to watch the luxurious pace they took with telling the story. There would be things that you would never see in any movie nowadays, and I guess it's been what almost 30 years, over 30 years now. But like stuff like a smash cut to a helicopter flying over Antarctica, and it would spend 12 seconds just showing this helicopter headed to a place before all of a sudden you were there. It's like nowadays it would be like 3 seconds and then you're out. And part of me started to get all uppity thinking like, what is it with storytelling nowadays that we got to cram so much stuff in? But then I pictured myself as an old man defending like the original Nosferatu in the silver screen days. And I was like, you know what? The way storytelling changes over time. But I, for one, would love to see a remake of The Thing. And I think the story's really good. And I look forward to any kind of future projects that are related to that particular franchise.
Time for Tube Tops. Only one piece of news for the Two Tops segment this week. Natalie Dormer, you might know her from The Tudors. She was Anne Boleyn. Is the first casting announcement for Game of Thrones Season 2. Natalie will play Marjorie Tyrell.
Can we kick up a little bit of a spoiler alert here because I want to talk about this.
I think it's a yellow. Spoiler alert, yellow.
Spoiler alert.
This was very confusing to me because, and as is mentioned in the article, she has a very, very minor role in the second book, and
which is what the second season is based on, book 2.
Correct, and doesn't even really become a player until the fourth book. And there's talk about them fleshing out her character, which is so curious to me because part of the big strength of Game of Thrones is that it was so true to the books. And I understand you can't tell the whole story, but they told so much of it, and they told it accurately. I, for one, this really raises a flag for me, and I hope that they're not doing anything stupid with this. And I have no.
Okay, here's what I hope, because I have that same concern. Marjorie Tyrell is not a key figure in book 2, but she is a key figure. No, she's a major figure in book 4. And they're pretty certain they're going to be doing more seasons of Game of Thrones. The same logic that leads them to book Sean Bean as Eddard Stark rather than a lesser actor that you would normally get for a one-season role, right?
Okay.
Instead of that...
By the way, retroactively with that statement, we're now at spoiler alert red because
the freaking season is over. How is that red?
I don't know. Maybe you just full on, expose the only gigantic twist the entire.
I didn't expose anything about it. All I said is that they replaced him with Abe Vigoda for season 2. I mean, everybody knows that. Everybody's reading that.
You heard it here first. Abe Vigoda he goes into the time capsule and he comes out an old man. It's
now it's spoiler alert red because you gave away the time capsule.
Are you sure we shouldn't go to plot?
Spoiler alert awesome. Take us to spoiler alert awesome, sir. Yes.
Spoiler alert.
All right, so instead of getting Betty White for Marjorie Tyrell, they got Natalie Dormer. And here's my thinking is, their logic is we want the best person for the role no matter when they show up. So
Right.
even though it's a smaller role in season 2 than it is in season 4, they're like, well, we want her for season 4, so we got to have her for season 2.
Yes. Okay. If that's the case, then good on you, mates, and well played. And to be honest, I was not smart enough to have thought of that solution. So I'm glad to hear that there is a way for them to stay true to the second book, and still have a larger game plan worked out.
We can drop the spoiler alert now and move on to the shows we're watching. Pretty much everything I want to watch this summer starts July 11th.
I know, me too. And to be honest, I'm glad because I'm so super busy right now. So it's like, but now here's the thing. You realize that we're coming to a head here because you promised to watch Breaking Bad and I promised to watch Fringe.
Yes.
I'm on the road, but come Breaking Bad's return, I'm going to be talking. Oh shoot, you already watched it. You already watched Breaking Bad.
Nope. Waiting for you to start watching Fringe.
Okay, all right. I'll see what I can do on the road. I'm going to make things right. I'm going to make things right. I'm going to
fulfill. All right, you have to let me know when you start watching it, though.
Okay, but it's like it's good. There's going to be a crunch because I'm going to have to watch a lot of Fringe really fast because I'm going to want to talk about Breaking Bad when it comes.
First 2 True Bloods came out. One on HBO on Sunday. I watched that. Also, the second episode of True Blood available on HBO Go. They did the same thing they did that 1 week with Game of Thrones, so you could jump ahead. Gets a lot of people to sign up and try HBO Go. I had a better experience with HBO Go this time than I did with Game of Thrones. Still wasn't perfect, but I'm not going to bitch about it. It worked fine. I was able to watch the show. True Blood, I think, is carrying on. I don't think it's like, oh my god, it got so much better. But if you liked it up to now, it's hitting on all cylinders. They did an interesting plot twist where they jumped ahead a year from the episode last year. So they don't spend a lot of time spinning the wheels going like, okay, well, this is what happened with that. They just jumped ahead. And they're like, okay, in the past year, all this stuff happened, got that out of the way. Now let's go forward with some brand new stuff. I think it was a really good choice, and I'm liking it.
Awesome. I have watched nothing. A little bit busy this month.
Let's move on to Interferon. I want to start with something I saw on All Things D. This is an example of your typical internet viral video. In fact, in some ways, it's become kind of a trope.
It's a freaking formulaic viral video. It's like, take thing that niche audience likes, match character with opposite genre, hilarity ensues, right?
Yeah, so I mean, what do you think? Well, let's play a little bit of it, and then I want to talk about it.
Now, what you need to do is put your little hybrid in reverse and go out the way you came in. What? Yo, it's about to get real in the Whole Foods parking lot, man. It's getting real in the Whole Foods parking lot. I got my steel and you know it gets sparked a lot. I'm on my grind, homie. It's on my mind, homie. These fools with clipboards are looking at me like they know me. It's getting real in the Whole Foods parking lot. You know the deal with the little shopping carts they got. Check out what I say. It happens every day. It's how we live on the west side of LA.
So this is...
I'm riding slow in my...
This is like Chronicles of Narnica all over again. Except, like you said, you totally broke it down. Urban rap vibe in suburban, yuppie location. Is this funny anymore?
I don't know. And it could be. I don't want to blame the formula, but I will blame this video for being formulaic. And maybe if I was somebody who was psychotic into Whole Foods, but I'm that goofball who regards Whole Foods as like, in my mind, Whole Foods is I pay a lot and I can't get a lot, and so I'm not a Whole Foods fan. I'm not a Whole Foods culture kind of guy. So it didn't make me giggle because they're like, oh, it's so true. They do have tiny baskets. It's
yeah.
This one just didn't resonate with me. I guess that's what I'm saying. And I don't want to say the genre's over. I'm going to say this one didn't hit the mark.
All right, we have a couple of emails in Interferon.
Indeed we do, sir, and I will pull them up right here. I got an email. He sent it directly to me, but I forwarded it over to framerateshow@gmail.com, and I forwarded it over to you as well. Did you take a look at this?
No, I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
This is pretty insane. It just says, and I have no idea if this guy works for the company or what, because he uses the phrase "our," but he says this video demonstrates latest results of our novel glasses-free tabletop 3D display named F-Vision by introducing a virtual concert of Hatsune Miku, known as Digital Diva in Japan. For more information, visit my website, and there's a link to it. Crazy hologram technology was what the guy says. Take a look at this. This is essentially, if you remember that scene on the Millennium Falcon, where they're playing, creature chess, and these holographic projections of these things show up. That's essentially what this is. What you're looking at right now is a physical miniature of a background behind the chick, but the chick is willed to your eyes in 3 dimensions from all angles, and you may even want to jump ahead actually to see some of the different angles and stuff. Some of the there we go. You can see from 3 different angles right now you're being viewed. It appears as though it's a holographic projection above, although everything happens below the surface of the glass of the table. And so what I mean by that is, have you ever seen those holographic projection things where it's a penny inside this silver UFO dish thing and it looks like it's floating up above? Have you ever seen that, Tom?
Yeah, I've got a bank that does that.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a similar thing to that, but to your eye when you look at it, it really does look like it's just floating above you, and it's tabletop technology. And at the very end of this, if you jump forward another minute or two, they actually pull apart all the pieces to show that essentially what they have is they have some kind of conical projector with a prism effect on there. So they've got something that uses LEDs to project the image up, and then this thing splits it into all the different angles that you can see it from, so you see it all at once at the same time. And I gotta tell you, man, this is, how long have we been saying, and I don't know if you and I are on the same page on this, but I have been shouting nonstop about I want glasses free, I want it to not hurt my eyes, I want it to work automatically. This could be the real deal here.
And you know what this is? This is real plane 3D, not flat plane 3D. And I just made those terms up. But instead of looking at a flat wall and having things sticking out from it, which is what we have for 3D right now, you're seeing vista. You're seeing real. I mean, when we look at the world, we don't look at it all coming off of a flat wall sticking out. We see a vista over a plane, and that's what this provides. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and it looks like this is literally the closest we could possibly get to the R2-D2 projecting the holographic miniature Leia there talking to people. I mean, there's no reason looking at this. There's no reason that
it's mechanical. It's not like a big technological jump.
No.
That's pretty cool.
It's
just something nobody thought of before.
It's a fantastic implementation of it. I really look forward to seeing some kind of novel application. The stuff that pops into my mind at first is you could do the full-on holographic Princess Leia video conferencing, but I suspect that will not be the ultimate application for this. I don't know where it's headed.
And P. Delahanty says they do holographic concerts with Hatsune Miku. One is scheduled for Anime Expo this weekend in L.A.
Get out of town.
You can actually see her.
We should totally go, except for I'm totally booked.
All right. I think we're going to jump to feedback now. FrameRateShow@gmail.com is the email address.
Now it's time for feedback with Brian and Tom on Frame Rate. Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
I'll tell you what, and actually one of the feedbacks was going to be about the Captain America trailer, but instead we'll talk about this one right here. Mark Gagne writes, "Hi guys, just watched the most recent Frame Rate. I'm definitely a cord shaver," terrible name. "Once I had Netflix and an Apple TV, I downgraded my cable from the high def tier down to just the bare minimum, where I still get video on demand so I can watch some Doctor Who and sci-fi shows. I think the thing that keeps some people from cutting the cord entirely is the policy they, Comcast for me, have of jacking up cable internet price if I get rid of cable channels completely. Not unlike the newspapers that make it cheaper to get both the digital and print together. Great show, Mark G." And I should point out, Mark G is the one who's been providing our spoiler alert graphics, and he's the one.
Oh yeah, those are awesome. We wouldn't have had spoiler alert awesome today without Mike.
Indeed, and spoiler alert. I guess green or yellow. In the future, you'll see spoiler alert plaid. And some other colors as well. Oh, wait, you can't go to spoiler alert plaid just to say that we're giving spoiler alert plaid in the future. Oh,
you said it. I just listened for the keyword.
All right. Fine.
Don't say the other one.
It's actually happened now.
Spoiler
I don't know.
alert.
What do you think, man?
Crazy? No, we don't need a spoiler alert level anymore.
Okay, all right.
We can drop that. I say just go internet only. You'll save money. This idea of bundling is a false choice proposition. Don't fall for it, Mark G. Yes, your internet price goes up, but overall you're spending less money than if you're buying both of them. Cut it all together.
So let's say you got both of them together for $110, and of that, $60 is your cable, $60 is your internet. You say screw it, go $90 for your internet only, and you're still saving $20.
Well, let's go with a real world example. Usually what they do is you can get phone, internet, and cable for $99, and then they have some bundle that's like $60 for both, and then it's $50 for internet. That's pretty much the packages here in the Bay Area. Okay. So yeah, you're looking at, you're like, geez, $60, but if I cancel it, it's still $50. You're saving $10 a month. You're saving $120 a year. Now, if you look at that and say, yeah, but I'm giving up more than $10 a month worth of content, then fine, keep the bundle. But if you're looking at it and going, gosh, I'd like to cut the cord because really I could get all my TV on the internet, but it's not that much of a savings, it's still savings.
Yeah, that's true.
You're still saving money. So it's just a matter of whether that's $10 extra a month is worth it for you. But if you're like, you know what, I don't even care what's on cable anymore, I just want to cut the cord, don't not cut the cord so that you can pay an extra $10 a month. Doesn't make any sense.
Agreed. And if you want to chime in, why don't you write us at framerateshow@gmail.com. That's framerateshow, all one word, @gmail.com. We do read all of those, and in fact, we're even able to type a response from time to time. And of course, that's where some of our best videos, if you have a suggestion, video for a story you'd like to talk about or a response to anything you've heard on the show, make sure to hit us up.
That is it for the 30th episode of Frame Rate.
Shut up. We're out with 30. We're in our 30s already?
We're in our 30s. You can't trust us anymore.
Dude, your 30s are awesome. They're just like your 20s, only you have money.
Exactly. And then the 40s are just like the 30s, except you have little aches and pains. Thanks, everybody, for watching Frame Rate. We'll see you next time. Clang.